all over the world watching our broadcast.
So
But it's
first,
making sure that,
let me start to ask a series of questions. Number one, why should churches invest in virtual experience or reach out to the digital community? Why?
um, first of all, because it's going to give you an opportunity to reach people who you would never meet. Some folks would never walk into your doors, but while they're just strolling, they may not be looking for church. They may be looking for some shoes or maybe looking at somebody else's post, but it gives you an opportunity to grab their attention just by you being there. In the old, in marketing, they tell you it's location, location, location. So guess what? With the church, it's going to be location, location, location. If they can't go out, they can definitely log on and see you.
Now, and also I've learned something. If you're not out there in the digital community, you don't exist now, because the first thing people do is Google your church, Google your pastor, and if there's nothing out there, it's as though that you don't exist at all, and that's very important. Now, I want to talk to you because we need to talk about. It's important for us to do this, and that's why we are doing this. But now, today and tomorrow, we're going to talk about the how to build out the virtual church as a mission field. But today, our focus is on building out a really building out this virtual church and what we need to do it, because we got a lot of people who are out there now. Since this pandemic, we got more people out on social media than we ever had. So now I know what kind of hardware do we need to really begin building out the first phase. We have advanced and you have advanced set up, but I'm a church. I have a small budget, and I know it's very important that for me to be out there. I think really need to get a website. I think that's the first thing, and then after you get the website, then you're able to link all your services to your website, and people can that you can build out. But what kind of hardware do I need? Tell me, what do I need?
Well, I think talk about doing the website. I think really getting, and right now, I will say we've learned this, is that when getting your stuff, you get the best that you can. You need digital cameras, even if you can't afford the big TV cameras. Our media guy right now has a small little camera, digital camera, and he does better videos with that than what we use our TV cameras for. So you can go and get one of those video cameras. Probably, I think we spent maybe $400 or $500 for that, and that sets up on a tripod. It can record.
Now talk about that. Now talk about that, because we got a whole lot of people that go out and use their phone and buy a digital camera and so forth, and they trying to film the service with their not having a tripod. Tell them why that's inappropriate. Why that's bad. Why that's bad. Tell them.
Yeah, yeah. Because when you're trying to hold the camera in your hand or your phone in your hand, it's shaking, it's turning, and people are get turned off by something that's not stable. So you really need to show them, have a stationary place, and again with that tripod. And I would encourage you to get probably 2 cameras and 2 tripods so you can have multiple angles. You want to be able to let them see you from one side, the other side, and zoom in and have a far off.
But with that, you need a switcher. Don't you need a switcher with that? Switch
Yes.
one camera to the other. Let me say
Now,
this.
that's if you're doing live. Now, if you're going to record it,
Right.
you can actually edit it later.
Right. But
So,
a lot of people don't
now
have the
what we-
capacity. I want to start ground level. The first thing, you need a digital camera, because you get a beautiful picture from a digital camera, and you need a tripod. I want to just really discourage people from getting a camera, their own iPhone camera, and you can use your iPhone camera, but make sure you have a tripod. But I want to discourage people from taking pictures with their hand. First of all, you move too much, and people get drunk while they're watching you, and your members will accept this, but people that are surfing and looking for churches will see this as an act of they're not caring about the viewer, because the viewer says, I'm trying to watch this, and they moving up and down and so forth, and immediately they miss you, and they will never return again. So,
Right.
so I think, what do you think, Bishop, that we should tell them, Don't use your iPhone without an iPod or your iPad without an iPod where it can be stationary, and when it will move stationary. What you think about that?
Yeah, I agree, and right now they have those. I can't think of what it's called, but they have those because if you want to get multiple angles. So say if you don't have a cameraman, they have the new, and I'll get the name of it before we get off. Um, uh, Things that you can hold in your hand, but it keeps the picture steady. So if I'm moving around, it's not shaking and moving with my hand. It knows how to balance that camera and keep the camera steady for you. Your phone to keep it steady. And I will say, if you're going to use the iPhone, and really the new iPhone 11, and I'm fighting getting one, but because they have the 3 cameras on there, they have where you can do close up and you can do the far off shots. You want something that's going to make it almost TV quality, even if you don't have TV cameras. So, if you're going to invest either in a digital camera or you're talking about getting the phone, get the iPhone 11, because you'll see they have those different 3 cameras, so you can change your shots right there when you're editing everything.
So what you're saying to me, based upon you said the budget, the way we look at that, for less than $1,000, you really can have a decent quality
Yes.
presentation. However, I think you need to go to the right places. I would recommend up here at B&H, because you can't go to every electronic store, because they're going to sell you something that most of the time the salesperson don't even know what the device can do. You need to find a electronic store where you can find a salesperson that really can tell you exactly, and also say to them that this is the church, and that you're going to be using for religious services, and then they can tell you what you need. So you need a digital camera, which Bishop said you can get one probably for under $500. You want to go a little further, costs much more than that. The cameras that we have the entry-level professional cameras, and they very expensive. However, because we're doing so much, it's necessary for us to have this, and you have TV quality cameras at your facility. Also, I want to caution you. The size of the camera does not necessarily mean that it will do the best quality. Sometimes the smaller the camera is, the better the quality you get. So don't get hooked up in, that's a small camera. Well, and that's a big camera. Well, sometimes the big camera, I don't got the same quality. Then the big camera have less reduced quality than the smaller camera. The idea is to get a digital camera and pull it together. Now, for those who have multiple cameras, they need a switcher. Being able to have the switch it from one place to the other. We have 1, 2, 3. We have about 3 stationary cameras. We still got to add another one. We have 4 cameras, but we got this large professional switcher in the back. We got about three computers. I mean, it's a high tech. We have a digital board, a Behringer digital board, and a lot of our stuff is not only do you got to get the visual right, but you got to get the sound right.
Yes.
That's very important. Now, the things that turn people off is the visual is not right and the sound is not right. Just like there were participants here that said, I can't hear you, and then there's some say that they can't hear me. So it's very important that you get the sound right and that you get the visual right. And that and the thing I want you to drive home, Bishop, that this is affordable for one to have a digital presence. Drive that home, Bishop, to us. Tell us.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, one of the reasons it's affordable, because that's your church right now. And that's what when we had a meeting with our media team when this pandemic first started, we had to sit down and tell them, listen, right now, you guys are the church. I mean, yes, we got to do preaching, but if you guys can't make sure that our broadcast is good, it messes up everything. So you've got to decide, if you want your church to be able to survive, you've got to put money into making sure that you have the quality equipment. You got to put it in your budget. You got to say, hey, listen, either we're going to dropped down. And I can remember, man, when it first happened, I was a little concerned that yeah, folks gonna watch it a little while, they're gonna stop giving, and the money's gonna go down. But because we give a good product, I will tell you, God's grace, we're doing the same we were doing in the building, really, and a lot of times we're doing more, bringing in more because we're getting more people to watch who are giving because they like what they see. Again, it's that, and then you talk about the quality. It's making sure that your background is good. You know, so you got to make sure that when you're starting to film, that you look around. Some of our staff are real good at making sure if there's a wire that's hanging down, if there's anything not straight, that they're looking at that, because you can't have a good product, good preaching, but then you got stuff going on behind you.
It have to be, it have to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye. That's why periodically we get a backdrop. I'm working on now. I'm trying to get a digital LED in back of us. You know, we already got this. If I knew what I know now, last year I bought this this projector. It's a laser projector that we paid a lot of money. But if I knew what I know now, I would just forego that and would have bought a LED digital background screen, because you'd be able. Right now, I'm spending a lot of money having a printed out large background to make it aesthetically pleasing. And you know, my viewers say, "Oh, that's fantastic, pal," because people want to see something different. You know what I mean? To have your background, it have to be aesthetically pleasing, and things have to be in place. And let me say this, because a friend of mine, we laugh at this. People not interested in seeing an empty building. They're not interested in seeing the outside of your church. I know you love how your church look, and I know you love the interior of your church. People want to see people. They want to see ministry. They want to be able to connect. So the one thing you're going to have to decide in your mind, that how I'm going to market the product that we have, and that is how we're going to project what we have. And I see a lot of stuff that really turn off a lot of people. And whoever you're going, my team get after me all the time, because I'm always looking at my phone, and there is a delay. So while I'm looking at my phone, I don't know it. I'm on the air, and they say, "Oh, that looked bad." So you got to be conscientious that you got to trust your media team, that while you up there, that all of the outlets are connected, and that you just do what you have to do. This morning when we had our intro, and then we had our virtual choir, and before, you know, the team, you know, when you do the editing, they put it together and they perfect it. And I began singing before it was over, and the team had to cut it off, and they got very upset with me. They said to me, "Listen, let the video run out before you get up there. You know, everybody needs to see the final product." And they put hours and hours upon hours in doing the editing. So they got to be able to discipline yourself and really trust your media team, because they are marketing you, they're marketing the church, and we are producing a product of that will be pleasing in Jesus Christ. So it's very important. So your hardware is the most important thing. You got bad hardware, you're gonna have a bad product. Go ahead, Bishop.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you said about the LED wall. It's so funny. When we got ours, I remember it vividly. What happened was someone had rented our church. Actually, we had some Brazilians rented our church, and they brought the LED wall. They rented it just for their conference. And man, we fell in love with it. We're like, yo, we want one of those. We need one. So talk to the people who they rented it from. Asked them how much it was. Could they get it into the church for us to have the members to look at it? It came in, I think it was 2 weeks before Easter. And we said, we want this thing for Easter. Now, here's the thing. We, at that time, when I tell you, there were some folk who got mad because it cost us about $70,000 to buy it. And so there were folk who were upset because we went and spent $70,000 to get it. But now in hindsight, everybody's like, that has changed the whole aesthetics of the church. And now that we're having to use it for the background and everything for the church is working, and it has just become a blessing. But we had to make a decision, you know, because people were saying, well, that money could have been used for feeding the hungry. But now it has blessed us that we're still able to bless more people than what we would have done if we would have stopped and did something else. So sometimes as a leader, and I'll say this to pastors, sometimes you have to think about what's important down the road.
Right.
That you don't let the tail wag the dog. You got to say, you know what? I know pretty soon this is what the wave of everything, and so I'm going to make this decision right now that folks won't understand. But in the song of the church, they'll understand it better by and by.
You know, you got to be on the cutting edge, and I've said this today in my epistle address. We have an aging congregation, and an aging congregation is a congregation that's at some point is stuck into the past, and there's a great deal of resistance of entering into the future. If you don't enter into the future, then people won't be they're not attracted to your past. You know what I mean? New people are not attracted to your history. New people are not attracted to your look. That's where you like it, but new people are attracted to what they see. Now, dealing with professional people, middle class people, Zoom has been their norm. Presentations, such as what we do, all kinds of presentations that they do. You go to a board meeting, they're going to have a what they call that presentation that I did today. Well, I brought up in Zoom and all that stuff, but they do it through, the slide presentation. What they call the slide presentation? It's PowerPoint, yes, PowerPoint and Excel. You know what I mean? Today we had an Excel report given to us, flashing on our Zoom service. I was able to share it, able to share my agenda, able to share church reports. Every church that gave a report, they sent it in, we scan it, we put it up. That's what people do now. Right. They going green, and all of that is to have a visual presence. We learning more through our visual usage of our eyes and stuff. So it's very important. So what the takeaway of this segment today is, it's important to do what you have to do to make sure that your church can connect to this generation of believers. Now, I grant every home don't have a computer. I grant that. That's the problem we have now with the educational system. Kids supposed to be going back to school, and they have to give out the devices. I grant it. Every church don't have access to the internet. I grant that. But that's becoming less and less. Because more and more people need to be able to connect. The constant contact that we do each week. We send out constant contact each week. We even text members. Once we have your cell number, we text you. We text you flyers. We text you stuff to let you know. We put links in, make it easy for you just to go in and hit the link, all that. But all that is connected to having the hardware that you be able to be effective in your ministry. And like I said last night, we had over 1,000 viewers that would not even come in person to our conference. Yes. All right, go ahead, Pastor. Is that you?
Yeah, that was. I just sent it to you because I wanted to share real quick a video. If they can share the screen for them to see the equipment I was talking about.
All right, Sister Gina, let's share this screen. We're gonna share it. You sent it to me. How did you send it to me?
I sent it to you in your inbox, but if they want me to share the screen, I can show it here.
All right, okay. Okay.
I want them to see what they can get.
Yeah, I made you a host.
You made me a host?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you can share it. Go ahead. There it is. Thank you.
So here's what I was talking about. Very easy equipment, but what it does.
I have that.
So something very simple as that. If someone can get, uses their, if they, they want to walk around, they want to keep it moving with the person who's preaching, if he's walking around, something just that simple. Don't cost you no more than maybe $50. You can get that and have a very professional looking service.
That's beautiful. Angel, I want you to come here and put up a picture for me because we want to share something. I want to see if it's possible for them to see. Angel, you here? Come here. Last week, I want to share this picture of our setup in the back. I did it Sunday, and this is this is for the entry. It's not even high end. I think midway. We are midway in what we do. Share this picture here, Sunday Pass. If you have any questions, put the questions down. No, I don't think it's up there. You got to share it from here. And let me tell you something. You got to keep some young people around you. Don't run off with young people because they got this thing down. I want to share this from Sunday. All right. I took these pictures Sunday while we were doing our virtual experience, and I want to share with you. I want to walk through this in terms of the hardware you may need as you progress. Because remember, once you once you get bitten by this, you're gonna really want to explore this even further. I mean, because you start seeing that your members of your church will be able to see you and to experience you, and they want to see their pastor. Even though we pastors have a disadvantage, we can see them, but they can't. I mean, they can see us, but we can't see them, and but we can feel them. We can feel them in our imagination. I want to share this with you. Yes, these pictures. I want to share these pictures with you. All right. Thank you. I have this young fellow do it because he could do it much faster than I can. Like I said, I can do it. I can figure it out. I mean, this is second nature to him. My son, this is second nature to him. That's a picture there. Is that up? All right. Okay, this first one, let's go to second. First one, you see, this is we got 3 of these cameras here, and remember I told you about it being aesthetically pleasing. Go back to the other one, aesthetically pleasing. You know, we intentionally set this up. We designed it where it would have a good look. Like I said, I'm trying now to, if I can get we have a backdrop that we pay for every quarter, and it costs us a lot of money to do a printed backdrop. I'm working on getting a digital backdrop. But this is one of our cameras set up front. And then we got 2 other cameras on each side to have different shots. One designated for the preacher on both sides, and the other designated for the musicians and the singer. And let's go back. Let's go to another one. Let me show you in the back of what we do in the back. This is very important back here. This is our back setup. Can you see it? Yes, this is our setup. Angel, explain to what's going on back here.
So right back here, we use something called, get down here. So right back here, we use something called ProPresenter. ProPresenter is like a software where we can pull up some things from the church, such as scriptures, and we connect all the cameras into one. If you see me right there, there's another computer that is a touch screen that allows us to switch the cameras or switch to when it's time to show the lyrics or when it's put the camera back on Bishop. And then we have the other computer there, which is another MacBook for the graphics that shows for our Zoom calls. So if you're calling in and you're hearing us, all these things is coming from that digital board. It's coming through ProPresenter, and it's coming through our switcher that is located right there in front of me. That's what's the Mac Mini. So we have 2 Macs, and then we have a Windows computer that we use that connects to the Black Magic box that helps us to use as a switcher. And lighting does play an important part, especially if the camera's on you, because you don't want to see any shadows and behind you, or you want to bring more of the appearance out. So lighting does play an important role.
Lighting, let me see, lighting is so important. We have one, two, three, one, two, three, four. We have 8 lightings all over, lighting this place up because you can't expect natural light and the light from the camera. Also, we run it through the system. Now, some devices have the ability that you can use the mics from the camera. However, the difference with those mics is that you hear like a hollow sound. But once you run it through the system, you can hear a direct sound. So we want us to really to embellish and to really build up our churches. You like I said, you got to start, have an entry level, and have a small budget. But if you have a young person in your church, or people, don't have to be young, but people that are knowledgeable of technology, you should build out you a media ministry team. And let me also say something, Bishop. We need to talk about this because there's a question and answer. Let's see what the question was, because I want to tell you something too that's very important. Is there any questions? Please type it. All is good on this end, okay?
Bishop, I'm going to show you a picture of the. Let them see what the LED wall looks like. So
They will know which laptop do we use. Okay, go ahead. We do a Mac Mini and an iMac, a Mac Mini, iMac, and then we have a regular PC, HP, and the software that we use for the graphics is ProPresenter. Go ahead, my brother. You want to show us something?
Can I share the screen again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Pull this up.
This is very fruitful because we try to make our churches to be, these Free Will Baptist churches need to come up, and we got to push them. We got to push you. We got to push you.
So here's a picture of what the LED wall looks like for us. So you'll see that that whole wall is just our LED wall. We're able to change it. So when we're getting ready to do things, that's a picture of it from the back. So whatever we need to put on there, if it's stuff that goes on with the message, I put these general ones up there because again, we weren't going to be in the building.
How large is that? How large is that LED wall?
That LED wall there is probably, let's see, 6. That's probably about 30 by 20 feet.
Now, those are in cubicle sections, right? There's not just one.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right. Yes, that's what I want. Yes. Because it's cheaper to buy them in those sections, correct?
What you say now?
It's cheaper. It's inexpensive to buy them in the cubicle section than just buying a whole screen. Because if one section go out, you just take that out and replace it.
Exactly.
Okay,
We had
yeah.
one to go out at the top. They came in, pulled it out, put the other one up. And so now the plan is this right here on this side here, to put panels here. See the same thing. And then with the pulpit, we're going to get rid of that and get a podium that has an LED screen on there. So kind of the same logo that you might see here will be there. But it's just, again, as you said earlier, aesthetics for people to see something that's going to capture their eye a little bit more.
Now, Pastor, let me tell you something. Let's talk about this. This is a radical change in most of our churches. And I'm going to say something. You're going to have to upgrade your pulpit look. I mean, yes, the communion table used to be sacred, and it still is sacred, but it can be placed in the back of the church. The pulpit don't have to be as big. Right now, I said last year I bought this old big pulpit. Now we're using another type of electric pulpit because it's open, it's free, it looks more conducive. So I'm not going to get rid of the cross because I think the symbol of the cross and the candles need to be there. But having people sit up in the pulpit with those big chairs, I think that's about come to an end. I think COVID-19 done took care of that too, because I don't want too many people sitting next to me now. I got my own mic. I don't even want too many people using the mic that I have because, you know, I don't know what they have, and they don't even know what they have either unless they took the test. And then if you took it and they didn't give you the results in 2 weeks, it still ain't no good. So there's a lot of rethinking you're gonna have to do and you must do, and you're gonna get some pushback. You're gonna get some pushback because people are comfortable with the familiar.
Yeah, and I would suggest to pastors, when you get ready to do that, there's a great book that I read called Who Moved My Pulpit? Um, Read that book. It helps you to know how to navigate the sensitivity of moving what people have thought was sacred. You know, because they great grandma was the one who donated that money to buy that pulpit. Now you want to move it, and now you feel like you're getting rid of that grandma. So you got to know how to navigate those things the right way. So I would encourage pastors who are thinking about doing some renovations to an older, established, traditional church to get that book so you'll know how to navigate through those changes. So that way, while you're moving the pulpit, they're not trying to move your stuff out of the office.
Say that again. Yeah, that's right. Because you move the pulpit, you better move your stuff out the office. And we don't want you to be able to move your stuff out the office. You have to take people slow, and and while you taking them slow, you have to explain and teach, and still the more you teach, you're still gonna have some people that are stiff-necked, some people that are resistant to the change. But I mean, they're not gonna be there forever. It's sad that somebody have to die in your church for real change to happen. And a lot of times, that's the truth. Any questions in the chat box? We have any questions? Any comments? Because we want to bring this close. Because at 3 o'clock, we got another. Yes. Excuse me. Come on. We sit down. Yes. All right. Yeah, answer that. Yeah, answer that. Any other questions? Okay. Any comments? Well, Pastor, tomorrow we're going to talk about the mission field, and we're going to have Bishop Dismore on too. But today I want to talk about building out the hardware, giving the hardware. Let's say this, for the high end, I think that you can get all that you need, computers, everything, to make it happen in your church. Depends on if you get a Mac. Mac is very expensive. Even the Mini is expensive. The PCs are more affordable. However, the reason why we deal with Mac computers because Mac is designed for graphics.
And they last forever.
Yes, it lasts forever. So, you know, you may spend $3,000 for a Mac, but it be able to upload anything. And so you know, try to getting started. You can do about $1,500, but you try to budget about $5,000. But that $5,000 is going to yield you $30,000.
Yes.
I mean, with your social presence, that's how you gotta look at it. Whatever I have invested just recently, a lot of money in our hardware for our social media. I mean a lot. I'm embarrassed to say, but a lot. But right now, my viewership is going up. I mean, people are really viewing us. I hired a consultant, a media consultant who came in and actually we just tore up all our media hardware, and we started rebuilding. And he was amazed. And thank God we were talking about this. But early on, when the pandemic hit, we was out there. Right now, there's a lot of devices we talking about is back ordered because everybody's doing this. Yeah. So they back ordered. They back ordered. But we've been fortunate to get in early on when there still was a great supply. Now is there limited supply, and there's great demand. That means the prices went up. When there's a great supply but a limited demand, the price is low. So it's going to probably cost you a little bit more than it would have cost you prior to the pandemic. But it's very important that you get this done and get it done right. It's for the longevity of your church. And that's all, yes.
There's one more piece of hardware I think people ought to know that they may need to invest in, a software that they need to get. And that's because people are probably looking at now, they're seeing that we're doing a Zoom call, but it's on your Facebook page. but don't know how you do that. So I'm not sure exactly what you guys use. We use Webcaster.
What do we use, sir? What do we use? No, to do the Zoom and the website, that card that we bought, what was that? What do you call it? Video. But no, I ain't talking about that. He talking about, see, we simultaneously, we doing Facebook, and we doing YouTube, and we doing Zoom. There was a card, the video, come and tell me. Come and tell her, the video that connects. Hold on 1 second, tell them.
Right.
So we have this box in the back that's called Video Tech Deck. So what it does is it connects to our YouTube, our Facebook, his personal Facebook that we have, and we connect that box to the switcher. And we go from the YouTube page that's connected to the website, and that allows the website to get the live stream that we get from the switcher to come for the church. So that's what he's using, so he can get all his sources from there.
Okay. And we use Webcast.
And wait a minute. And our archives is YouTube. That archives everything. Which one you use, Reverend?
We use Webcaster. So Webcaster is able to let us do on multiple platforms. Now, are you doing YouTube live, or you just doing archive?
No, we do it live. We do everything live, and then they archive it.
Yes.
That's what you want to do. You want to be. You need to archive when you do this. You need to archive your stuff, whereby, and that's another asset that when people go look you up on YouTube, because believe me, that's what they do. They search, and they put your name up. All of the stuff in your archives pops up. I've heard people say, "I heard you preach." Well, I went to YouTube, and I was able to pull up your sermons and stuff. And now my sermons now are much different than it was years ago, because years ago I could do a lot of cliches and in-house, but now I'm more conscientious because people are doing fact checking. So
Yes.
I'm really adhering to my script, even though the Holy Spirit interject. But it's all out there. It's out there. Yes, sir.
And when you're doing your YouTube, I would encourage people, when you're putting stuff on YouTube, the title of it is also very important,
Right.
Because they connect everything. So I know people may not look for a Chauncey Brown, so I want to make sure that as I'm titling it, I'm going to title it something that's going to be closer to something maybe Jake's has preached or Morton has preached. So because when they look for stuff, all of those things, if Jake's preached about grasshoppers, I want to put my subject on something about grasshoppers too. So when they're looking for his message, as soon as Jake's go off from grasshoppers, guess what next video they're gonna see? Chauncey Brown preaching about grasshoppers. So you want to think about, as you're posting the title of your sermons or your YouTubes on there, have them close to something that's very similar to a very well-known person. So your videos are closely in line to that one, so that when they may not be looking for Bishop Edwards, but because they were looking at T.D. Jakes, Noel Jones, whoever, and your sermon had pretty much a close title, they saw your sermon right after they watched his, and now you become, you get more viewership.
Do you hear that? Because we used to do that. Do you hear what he said? Because but that's what we used to do. But we need to start back doing that, because once you do the title, if it's associated, it comes up. Yes. So we need to, and also another thing, with the title, you can also be careful with the date, because sometimes you get a generic date on there, and like we have done. Sunday the third, and Sunday was the 9th or whatever, and if you don't change the date, it don't automatically change itself. So
Right.
So you really need somebody who will archive your stuff appropriately, that more and more people can see it. And that's a great point there. My people, we used to do that. My people need to get on top of that now, because most of my stuff don't even have a title. It's just out there, and it's about building up your viewership, and that's hard. Reverend, tell me, I mean, that's hard. You know what I mean? Just getting yourself a camera, an iPod, and just putting it out. You reach your people, but you want to go beyond your people. So therefore, it takes a lot of effort and time. But once you just find your niche and strike gold, you in it. I mean, you in it. But building out a media team is very important. It's just like building a ministerial staff. It's more important now for you to build out a ministerial team, and that's a ministry. Those are ministers. That's being used by God. I heard something today, and I want some of my churches still using the word board, and there's no biblical connotation for the name board, deacon board, trustee board. Y'all need to get away from that. It's ministry.
Right.
Because board means governance and power and authority. No. Get back to ministry. We are servants. Ministers are servants. Servants. What servants do? Servants is a responsibility to make sure that the guests, the people that we'll reach, are to be served. Bishop, we want to thank you, man, for your time. We're going to break for 5 minutes, and we're going to come back to our next we're gonna because we don't want to go 2 hours in. We got 50 minutes, so we're gonna break, and then we're gonna come back on. So everybody that's on now, we're gonna cut you off. Come back on, because what we're doing, we are live streaming this and archiving each one of our